Well, today you heard that harrowing call from the farmer. It marks the 20th anniversary of the first Bali bombing, in which 88 Australians died because they were partying in a way that Islamic terrorists didn't like. Around the country, many of the survivors and the victims gathered in remembrance. All of us should shed a tear for those snatched away by an evil ideology and remember the human cost of this senseless carnage. My old boss was actually in Bali at the time of the second Bali bombings in 2005. And as soon as it all unfolded, Tony Abbott left his family safely at their hotel and headed straight to the Sanglar hospital because, as he told me later, as the health minister in the then Howard government, he wanted to be there in the emergency department and on the phone to Canberra, telling them what was needed and where. Later, as opposition leader, Tony Abbott fought for years to set up a compensation scheme for Australians caught up in acts of terrorism overseas. That's because he stayed close to the people he met that time in Bali, and he was mindful they needed help for life. And for those that didn't survive, they left behind spouses and children that he argued Australia should not abandon. Now, Abbott tried to get his idea for an overseas terrorism payment for the victims done via a private members bill, but Labor refused to support it. When I was with Abbott there on the day for the 10th anniversary in Bali, that's now a decade ago, I listened as he pleaded with the then Prime Minister Julia Gillard about this compensation scheme, but Gillard rejected it again. Now, as soon as he was elected Prime Minister in 2013, Tony Abbott made this scheme a reality, a one-off payment of up to $75,000 to any Australian who's the victim of terrorism overseas, paid to them if they survive, but to their immediate family if they don't. Now, this money doesn't bring anyone back, but it can help a family keep their home or pay bills if they lost a breadwinner. After all, there's compensation schemes across every state and territory if you're the victim of terrorism in Australia, but there's nothing if the attack occurs to our people overseas. Since that time, this payment has been made to people impacted by the London bombings, Bali 1, Bali 2, and countless other events, as we sadly grapple with terrorism as a new reality in this modern age. I know my old boss was pretty proud of a lot of things he did in political life, but none more so than this scheme, which she hoped helped right a terrible wrong. As he said, we must never forget our duty to people targeted just for being Australian.